Yeah.
And something else that was notable was he was asked about the Hall of Fame. And this has been discussed for a long time, but people wanted to know, is there going to be a physical Hall of Fame like there is in more traditional sports? And Vince joked, quote, "The Hall of Fame is housed in my head, actually, somewhere near the medulla oblongata." And I think it's that comment that got superstar Billy Graham to go sell his Hall of Fame ring on eBay for like 11 or 12,000 bucks. I was fascinated by this comment from Vince. It exists in my head. I think we've seen sort of suggestions that perhaps maybe one day Triple H would like to actually build a WWE Hall of Fame. Where do you land on all this? Should there be a physical Hall of Fame? And was Vince breaking some folks' hearts by saying it just exists in my mind?
Well, in a way, it did, and it does, or it did anyway. Not anymore. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I believe there should be a physical Hall of Fame. At one time, we had many meetings about moving it to Orlando or putting it in Orlando, to the point where I think there's even some discussion about buying some land and building something. Uh, but Orlando, Orlando's like Branson, Missouri. There's there's empty buildings at times when some act uh, uh, grows old, or they're not selling tickets anymore, or what have you. So, I actually believe it. I think it's be a great, all that stuff they're buying. We see on TV, the auctions, and where Lita and Mick Foley and Booker T, etc., are going around and buying memorabilia. Uh, Famous memorabilia is important, I think, and I think absolutely should be a physical Hall of Fame. How, if it's managed right, and it's not overwhelmingly large where the overhead's going to be ridiculous, I wholeheartedly would say yes.
Let's run through some business numbers just so we can sort of compare then and now a little bit. Television rights fees on this investor call were being discussed as being down. The prior quarter was 27.6 million. This quarter is 24.9 million. The difference being a loss of some international deals. But compare that to the freaking billions that they got from Fox and then again with Netflix. And boy, this is just a whole new ball game for WWE. But it is interesting how we got here because the WWE is still trying to maintain a healthy profit margin, not as much as maybe in years past. The dollar is being devalued a little bit, and they've had to cut some jobs and cut back some expenses and cut some costs. And maybe they're even accidentally contradicting themselves. Linda is going to go on these investor calls and say that business has been spectacular given the state of the economy. But when Vince is asked, he would classify it as fair to poor. And based on those comments, the stock goes from $11.72 down to 11 bucks. So it lost percentage wise a pretty decent chunk in a day. Of course, it eventually bounces back to 11.28. None of this matters now. They're over 100 bucks. I mean, that stock is rolling as we're recording. And it's pretty phenomenal to see just how quickly this business has grown exponentially. Because I think creatively, most fans would say, boy, '09 to now, they weren't necessarily on their greatest creative run, but they were on their best business run. Well, do you reconcile that to just sharper folks in the office and the business being less domestic, more international, or what would you chalk that up to?
It seems like today's WWE is better managed and better promoted than at any time in their history. So that says a lot because they've had great successes. The IPO netted them 160 million. Uh, that was a big deal. So that got them off to a good start. From my point is, so yeah, I think that they got something rolling. I mean, they got a good team. That's what you got to have. That's what Tony Khan is working feverishly to put together. He's hired a lot of people in the front office, a lot of new people. He's hired some people I haven't even met, which
Right.
is fine. I don't need to meet them. I'm not hiring them. They don't report to me, and I don't report to them. I report to one guy, Tony Khan, just exactly the way I want it. So, because I could get that answer. If I got a question, I get that answer. And I don't bother Tony at TV. There's times uh, we have a pay per view that I'm calling parts of that I don't even see him during the day. I'm in my when they come get me, I'm ready to go out. Let's go do it, uh, and get excited about it and have fun with it. So, but Tony's all I need to, because it's really the job that I do is something I've done the same job for years. I should be able now, if I don't, it's my own fault, and I should be turned out to pasture. But I should be able to handle this gig, and I think that we do all right with it. Would I like to work a little bit more egocentrically? Yeah, but I'm not disappointed or displeased with my current role. You know, I'm going to go. I was talking to Shivani yesterday, as I said, and we were talking about the CAC, going to Vegas, and all that stuff. Then we segued into the Vegas pay per view, and he said, "What are you going to call? Do you know?" I said, "I don't know till I get there." But I said, Tony, quite frankly, without sounding indifferent or egocentric, it doesn't matter. It's the same basic job. You're just changing the movable parts, but you're going to do the same basic functionality of watching the monitor and describing what you see in an entertaining and informative way. So that job just doesn't change much, man. And that's a good thing about being a veteran. They're not going to do anything in Las Vegas I haven't seen before. And I'm not saying it in a braggadociously. I'm just saying it's not going to happen. I'm going to see it.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson here to tell you a little more about what adfreeshows.com is all about. Get early, ad-free access to more than a dozen of your favorite wrestling podcasts every single week, starting at just $9. That's less than 20 cents an episode each month. And yes, you can listen to them all directly through Apple Podcasts or your regular podcast apps. How easy is that? Ad-free shows also has thousands of hours worth of bonus content and docuseries like Title Chase, Eric Fires Back, Conversations with Conrad, and The Insiders. Plus new series like The Book with David Crockett, Monday Mailbags with Mike Chioda and Nick Patrick, and a whole lot more. And you want to talk about early? You can't get any earlier than listening to the shows live. You can be a part of the live studio audience as we record the podcast. Plus, ride shotgun alongside your favorite childhood heroes for live watch-alongs, Q&As, and other interactive experiences every single month. Come on now, see for yourself what thousands of other wrestling fans from around the world have discovered, that adfreeshows.com is the best value in wrestling. Check it out today, and hey, when you do, the first week is completely free. adfreeshows.com.